All right, guys. Welcome to the 14.3. This one's only three things, so I'll be pretty quick here. Um, Towards the end of Hoover's presidency, he finally decided to act. And even then, people were like, whatever, dude. So the Federal Home Loan Bank Act was one of the things that you could really say, hey, this is pretty good thing you did. A program which lowered mortgage payments to make it more affordable for people to keep their homes. And again, in our recent financial crisis, which was now about 10 years ago, I mean, we're still coming out of it. But there was a similar thing called HARP, Home Affordable Refinance Program. So I forget. But anyways, it's a similar thing where they were lowering mortgage payments because it doesn't do anyone any good. If your house gets foreclosed upon, the bank doesn't win, you don't win, the neighbors don't win. Nobody wants to see a house foreclosed because everyone loses. And so it was in everyone's interest, including the individual and the government. Let's try to keep people in their homes. And it also allowed farmers to refinance loans to avoid foreclosures. And with a farmer, it's even worse because not only are they out of a home, but now you're not growing crops, which obviously are very important. So the Federal Home Loan Bank Act, actually a pretty good thing that was done by Hoover. People would say too little, too late. The thing that really sort of helped, or really sort of, I should say, angered people was the Reconstruction Finance Corporation. It authorized $2 billion to help banks, life insurance companies, railroads, and other big businesses. Can you imagine if you are one of the people who are struggling in the Great Depression? You can't find a job. You're living in a Hooverville. It's snowing outside. Your kids are sick. You have no hope. You can't. I mean, there's like nothing going on, and you want to work. You just can't. You want to feed your family. You can't. And here you see the government handing out billions of dollars to big banks and big businesses. Now, of course, the idea behind that was that they hoped that the benefits would trickle down to the public. That is, if we have a strong banking sector, big business, railroad, they'll be able to hire people, and that'll get the nation back to work. It was way too little, way too late, and it really caused the people to really be upset because they looked at it as you'd rather help big business than help the individual, and it's true. Because Hoover has once said, I forgot the exact way that he said it, but the reason why he didn't want to give direct relief or hand out, direct funds to people, because he honestly feared that people would become too reliant on the government and lose their sort of sense of self-reliance. Which was an interesting argument, but if you're dead because you die of starvation or cold, I guess it doesn't really matter if you lose your self-reliance because you're dead. Um, but apparently, that argument did not move Hoover. Bonus Army. This perhaps was the last nail in the proverbial coffin for Hoover. And the situation was way back in World War One. You had service members who were promised a bonus years in advance. Hey, you guys did a great job. We can't afford it right now. We'll give you a bonus. I forgot exactly the day, but we'll give you a bonus somewhere in the future. I think it's the late 30s was supposed to be paid. And during the Great Depression, people were saying, "Well, gosh, we really could use that bonus now. If we don't get this bonus now, then we might not make it. So, we don't want our bonus to pay for our coffin." That was um, sort of the rhetoric that was going on. And so, what you had from all over the country, a group of World War One veterans who marched on Washington to demand bonuses promised to them for their service in World War One. Hoover would not meet with them. They demanded to meet with people. They had a meeting here and there. Long story short, they did not get their bonuses, and most of the bonus army said, "Oh, that's terrible," and they left back to, you can see there's from North Carolina, Georgia, New Mexico, so they're from all over the place. And there's Racine, Wisconsin. And they said, "Okay, we're going to head back home," but some of them stayed and said, "No, we're not moving. We're not leaving here until we get to meet with the president." They wouldn't budge. Eventually, President Hoover ordered the Army, the U.S. military, to attack its World War One veterans and force them to disperse. And just the imagery of, you know, the U.S. Army attacking its own veterans, that did not sit well with the country. And obviously, Hoover did not get reelected. All right. Well, thank you for listening and watching.